Good evening and welcome to our first ever virtual nature votes. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that what is now called the state of Tennessee is part of the unceded ancestral homeland of the Catawba, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Muskogee, Natchez, Shawnee, and Yuki people. As a sign of respect, we recognize and honor these nations, their elders past and present, and future generations. Tennessee conservation voters and I are very happy you are all here at our first ever virtual nature votes. This is also our 45th anniversary, so we have a lot to be pleased about there as well. This event will be quite different, but also very familiar. We have a lot of good news to share. First of all, we didn't use any gas, paper products, or plastics to put on this year's event. You will not get to meet or greet people, so that's a shame, but we hope you'll be inspired to reach out by phone or email and connect with friends after tonight. As you know, Tennessee Conservation Voters is about awareness, advocacy, and accountability. You'll be hearing throughout the evening how we do this urgent and vital work, why it is important, and how you can participate and support the initiatives. I hope you will sign up for updates. You can do so on our website, tnconservationvoters.org. The link is in the chat, and you should be able to see it there. We all welcome you, so let's get started. Environmental advocacy is exciting work. We had to talk about something we love and treasure, nature and the land, the water and the air, for us today and preserving it for future generations. As you are joining us this evening, I know you respect and love the environment as much as I do. But in order to make sure there is a brighter, healthier, and sustainable environment, we need to transform our passion into action. We must be advocates for preservation. We must write letters and make calls to our legislators to convey how important the issue is to us, so they vote and pass legislation to preserve the environment. All that sounds like work, and it is, but there are also less direct ways to convey your commitment to the environment. Share beautiful photographs on Facebook and Instagram, or any other social media that you use, and call out the beauty of nature and talk about how it needs to be preserved. I know I used the word work, but actually there should be a lot of joy and pleasure in our support of nature. So I hope you will enjoy being part of this movement. We need everyone at every level to share our knowledge, our joy, and our passion for this critical calling. Our movement needs to elevate everyone's voices. So I'd like to introduce two of our new board members, Everett Davis and Angel Fowler, two of our newest young board members. They will be your guides tonight. Everett and Angel, take it from here.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Angel Fowler. I'm a board member with Tennessee Conservation Voters, and we are really excited to have you.
Angel, I think you're sorry you're muted, so you go ahead and introduce yourself again.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angel Fowler. I am a board member with Tennessee Conservation Voters, and we are super excited to have you here this evening.
All right, and my name is Everett Davis, and I am a board member, and I'm the treasurer for Tennessee Conservation Voters. A couple things. First off, a huge shout out to Lipscomb University and Dodd Galbraith. We're able to put on this event and be able to do this virtually because of them and have this space. So thank you to Dodd Galbraith. He is the founder and a professor for Institute for Sustainable Practice, which is one of the departments here in Lipscomb, which I actually am a graduate from. So that's kind of exciting that we were able to make that connection. Next thing is, if you feel like giving, you're in the giving spirit. That's why we're here, right? For our nature in Tennessee. You can text nature21, that's lowercase NATURE 21, to 50155. So at any time you're feeling that spirit, just go ahead and text that to that number. And the other thing that I'll say is I want to shout out the over 40 sponsors for this event that we've had, which is fantastic. So props to that. Angel, do you want to tell us a little more about TCV?
Yeah, definitely. So Tennessee Conservation Voters is a coalition of state conservation groups and individuals that are dedicated to the conservation of Tennessee's environment. So we work together to accomplish our threefold mission that includes awareness, advocacy, and accountability, all of which go hand in hand when working through environmental issues. So tonight we will highlight our work by focusing on those missions. So we are going to segue into our first mission that highlights awareness. So awareness is when we are trying to get voters and office holders to understand our values. So here is a short compilation video of a few of our board members talking about the work of TCV and how this mission is brought into light.
I'm Michelle Haynes, and I've been a proud member, and my dog Ray, of the Tennessee Conservation Voters for almost 20 years. I felt early on that it was important that through legislation we preserve our wild places. It is important to all Tennesseans because we are so lucky to have the environment and the hills, the hollows, the plains, and all the beauty of Tennessee.
I'm a lifelong Tennessean, and just as much as I love the Titans and Preds, I love our state's outdoors. Even though we're staying safer at home, I'm proud to know that TCV is working hard to protect my neck of the woods for years to come.
Well, I think that Tennessee Conservation Voters is a really good place to start because we're trying to be a kind of a hub for how you can get involved in state. So I think that that's a good place to start, just as far as educating yourself, learning about what bills are going to the floor, what the priorities are, what kind of officials are thinking they want to move with or not, and why. TCV, we have member organizations, Sierra Club, there's a few, and you can get involved with those organizations under the umbrella of the general push for environmental advocacy.
To say, I have to, give a shout out to my childhood and my parents basically locking me outside during the summertime and just encouraging me to go explore and ride my bike and splash around in ponds and things like that. So I've always really enjoyed being in nature, playing with critters, and that kind of gave rise to me majoring in biology at Austin Peay State University. And I will say that once I got into graduate school and got a lot of exposure to different topics, that was really what sparked my interest in environmental science. And I got really lucky. Michelle, one of our fellow board members, her boyfriend is actually a landowner that we're working on a mitigation bank with him. And I got introduced to her through her boyfriend, Dickie. And she told me about Tennessee Conservation Voters. It sounded like a really interesting organization. And I really wanted to get more into environmental advocacy. And it just ended up working out. So I'm happy to be a board member. Getting to set up like the silent auction, and of course talking to people is one of my favorite things to do. So getting to meet different people and of course promoting our political advocacy and then honoring people who do a really awesome job with the environment is a great part of this fundraiser. All right. I kind of forgot, Everett, that you and I were in that video, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I saw myself pop up and I was like, oh, yeah, there I am.
Well, everybody, I'm not sure if you are familiar with this, but we do have an online auction going on right now that closes at 8 p.m. So, Tracy, I'm hoping that you're able to put the link up somewhere in the chat on Facebook or on YouTube. We just want to thank all of the wonderful businesses and individuals who donated your items. All of your contribution definitely means a lot. So up next, we have former board member and our personal auctioneer, Daniel Boone, who will be highlighting some of the items we have for auction. Take it away, Daniel.
All right. Listen, let me just start out by saying this. If this seems a little bit weird to you guys at home, it is really weird to me. This is bizarre, totally bizarre. You have to be here to believe it. I'm used to looking you guys in the eye and really hammering you hard on a lot of these auction items. I don't have the ability to do that, unfortunately, but I do know where most of you live and where you park your cars. So if there's any issues about low bids, I'll be taking care of that later tonight. And I do want to highlight one thing that Angel just said. We were originally going to close the auction at 7 o'clock at the end of this broadcast, but so you guys can focus on the meeting from 6 to 7 and not have to worry about what's going on so much at the auction. You've got from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock to get on the auction site and start bidding. And I will remind you more than once to remember that you have no friends when it comes to an auction item. Okay, so just get over that right now. Take a couple aspirin, move on, and get ready to bid here in a little while. But do not leave this broadcast until 7 o'clock. I do want to give a special shout out to all our auction item donors. We've got about 50 items total, and we thank each and every one of you that went to the effort to make these contributions and give us the opportunity to raise a little money and have a little fun tonight with this auction. Two things. You've heard me say this 1,000 times because I've been doing this since we moved the plumbing indoors. Okay? This is a fundraiser. You are not shopping at the Dollar General store. You can do that tomorrow. This is a fundraiser. And some of you get it because I've been looking at some of the auction items, and actually a number of them, surprisingly, are overbid their actual value. So good for you. Some of you get it. The rest of you that are bidding $10 on a $50 item haven't gotten it yet. So you got about an hour or so to get it and figure it out. So last I heard, maybe 30 minutes ago, the auction had raised approximately $2,500. The auction site is easy to access through Bidding Owl. Won't be any problem. Don't do it now. Don't hit that button now. Be patient and wait till 7 o'clock, and I'll update you on a few things as we go through this. What I'd like to do right now is we're going to hear from two professionals in the environmental and conservation field, Holly Taylor with State Parks and David Blackwood with the West Tennessee River Basin Authority. So take it away, guys.
When people are doing something that is harmful, they don't know it, or they don't know the consequences. So to me, education is the biggest advocacy. We went from a place where people would chain themselves to trees and lie in front of bulldozers, and really now we're, okay, we realize all these things are healthy. Why are they healthy, and how can we make them work the best way? Let's pioneer the details. It's creating, gathering, and sharing knowledge, doing good science, using the tools of technology, and educating the public and policymakers on why conservation in all its forms is important. Mm-hmm. That to me is advocacy. I think it's good that we have, we have good, smart folks who are, looking into this stuff and paying attention, period stuff. When work and play blend as closely as it does for me, my real recreation is getting out and solving these problems. And that, I'm sure that sounds cheesy to say, but that's what I love to do, is find these challenges that have people scratching their heads and just figure them out. That has been one of the cooler parts, is growing to a place where there's a lot of people doing things and being able to connect people and collaborate and see great things get done. Yeah. And knowing you don't have to carry the burden, it's a community. They're incredibly diverse, the number of parks that we have. There's a park for everybody, really, and there's going to be a park close to you no matter where you are. And it's just, Tennessee is such a diverse state anyway, and that's definitely reflected in our state parks and natural areas. And it's incredible what's out there, the resources available on our public lands. It's crucial, absolutely, that we reach the public, because if there's one thing that I've learned throughout my career, is that people are not going to protect what they don't love. And, if today's children, even yesterday's children, don't grow up, connecting with these resources, forging memories in these places, then they're going to grow up not caring whether they're preserved or not. And we really want to cultivate a public that, they're going to fight for these lands. They're going to be a voice for these places, and we want to help them stay informed of the issues that are facing our public lands. And so it's critical that we continue to bridge that gap and make those connections, that meaningful connection to these public lands, so we can protect them. Reaching out to the public
guiding a person to that sort of light bulb moment, to that aha moment where they make that meaningful connection to the natural world, and you know you've done your job. And it's especially impactful when it's a child, and you know, especially a child that, you know, maybe they didn't grow up outside, they've not really had the experience before. They've, you know, lead them into a forest and they see the trees and they realize that a tree is not just a tree, and they make that connection. Then you know that, you know, you've done your job and fulfilled your purpose. So that's, for me, that is the highlight.
All right. Well, Tennessee is blessed to have just an abundance of natural areas, as that video highlighted. And so I think this section is going to be a little bit of looking at some of these areas that we have within our own state. And just by looking through them, I mean, I realized I haven't gone to that one. I haven't gone to that one. I need to go to that one. What about you, Angel?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's still so much left to explore in Tennessee, I think, at least for me. You know, I've traveled quite a bit throughout the state, but there's so many state parks that I need to go see, a lot of natural areas, and I'm always jealous of the folks that have actually visited these areas.
Totally. Yeah, some of these are definitely on my list to go.
Oh yeah, I have been to Thicket State Park though. That one is beautiful. It's awesome in the autumn.
Yeah, and I've been to Big South Fork. Love Big South Fork. And everybody knows Radnor.
Oh yeah. Good old Cades Cove.
My favorite backpacking is overlooking Cades Cove. Gregory's Bald. If anybody knows Gregory's Bald, that's a shout out to Gregory's Bald.
Oh, and Reelfoot Lake is such an awesome West Tennessee treasure. If nobody's been there, you've got to check out the cypress swamps out there. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, Fiery Gizzard, obviously.
Yep.
Amazing hiking trail through there. And just wildflowers in general. Love them.
Yeah. Now, don't forget that you all can donate to Give to help protect these beautiful places if you're feeling generous.
That's true. And we'll get some good words from Stuart Clifton later about how we do the work we do. And obviously we're saying why we do the work we do, which is what we're looking at right now. So
yeah. I like a good dewy sunrise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Angel, I don't know if you know this, but I used to be I mountain guided for a summer or two in college in Colorado. And there's something about Tennessee that I think like grows on you long over time. Whereas like Colorado, you may get the wow factor, but Tennessee, there's something a little heartwarming, I think, about it that is endearing. You know, there's something about it that is unique, and I love that.
Yeah, there's so much diversity in Tennessee, especially with all the different ecoregions and the scenery. I mean, from the west side to the east side, it's completely different. And it's amazing how you can feel like you're in two totally different states just in one state.
Yeah. And I'm sure you get this obviously from your work and me going to school also for environmental subjects, like learning the diversity of Tennessee, geology, biodiversity, all of it is pretty remarkable.
It really is. Can't forget the Duck River, which is the most biodiverse river in the Southeast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great paddling area. Canoeing, kayaking. It's awesome.
Find all those shells of mussels on the banks.
Yep, lots of endangered mussels.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely proud to live here. I love Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling my wife that I've been here almost 10 years now, which is wild. And yeah, I've definitely grown fond of it over the past 10 years.
I want to go ahead and thank Barry Stolkin for playing some amazing music tonight, strumming along on the guitar.
Killing it as always.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I think we're moving on now to back to Daniel. Daniel Boone.
All right, thanks, guys. I just want to say, just River Association, you guys mentioned a couple of my favorite spots, the Duck River, the Tellico, a little whitewater, a little flat water. It's all good. TSRA's mission is really threefold. First is to preserve and protect the streams and rivers of Tennessee. Second is to promote river safety. And third, teach people proper paddling skills. We've been members of TCV since the early 90s. And one of the things that we constantly struggle with are getting rivers added to the Scenic Rivers Act. That takes an act of the state legislature to actually make that happen. And we're very pleased that over the years we've been able to add 30 miles of the Duck River in Murray County to that list, and a section of Soak Creek, a tributary of the Piney on the plateau. But, you know, why TCV? Why not do it yourself? Let me share something with you. This is a quote from John Muir's journal that he penned in 1869. Some of you have heard this before, a version of it. Here's exactly what it says, and I quote, "When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe." So that's why it's important, we feel like, to get together with a coalition of other environmental groups and help TCV work toward the accomplishing of not only TSRA's mission, but the mission of all our other groups as well. I think John Muir got it exactly right 150 years ago when he said, basically, you know, when you pull that thread, we find out that everything that we want to be involved in environmentally is all connected to everything everybody else is doing environmentally. So it's important. So let's hear now from some of our other TCV member groups.
My name's Amanda Garcia. I'm the Tennessee Office Director for the Southern Environmental Law Center, and our mission is to protect the basic right to clean water, clean air, and a livable climate, to preserve the natural treasures of our region, and to ensure a healthy environment for all. I rely a lot on Tennessee conservation voters to keep me informed about what's happening at the legislature. I really couldn't keep track of what's happening at the General Assembly without TCV's guidance and support. I've also just learned a lot from TCV's education wing about how to work with state legislature strategy, just how the legislature works in general. And that has really made a difference in our ability to advocate effectively at the General Assembly and just in general in our work.
The League of Women Voters is very interested in our core issues, which involve voting and voting rights and elections and transparency in government. And frankly, a lot of these overlap with the issues of TCV, because a lot of what TCV, for example, can bring to us is really in-depth understanding of some of the issues in terms of how environmental laws are made and how people have an opportunity to respond to them and to provide public comments in a way that are meaningful and that really help create the kind of public policies we want. And frankly, we don't have the wheelhouse that TCV has in our volunteer organization. Go look on TCV, go look through their newsletter and find out more about how it's going to impact your community. One of the things that I think has been really helpful and why we've enjoyed our TCV partnerships and being a member of TCV is that TCV understands, as the League does, that legislation is an ongoing and incremental process, and that just because you don't have a clear win one year doesn't mean that you've lost. You are continuously making ground. So that ongoing educational process with legislators about issues like plastic bags, for example, or solid waste management, which may sound tedious in some ways, but it's an ongoing process, and we have to understand that we're bringing along everybody in the state, and building on that knowledge incrementally is important.
I totally love the collaboration that I have with Stuart Clifton. With our weekly phone calls that we have on Thursday and evenings to talk about what's coming up the next week and what we've learned about different bills that have been introduced to the State House that we don't know about unless we share information. And so this is an awesome collaboration, and Tennessee Conservation Voters plays a very integral role in coordinating the activities in our State House between all of the interested parties in the state. Stuart and I are on the phone with each other a couple of times a day, usually during the heat of the session, and I have really appreciated your work too, Barbara, because you're up there, paying attention to what committees are doing. That, of course, has all changed with the COVID era.
Right.
We're all, I think, monitoring via the recordings that the different committees offer us, but
Right.
the day-to-day collaboration is essential to our work.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm ready to talk about kind of the next step of kind of what we're looking at for 2021, which is kind of exciting. So we were awarded a Patagonia grant, a grant from Patagonia. And essentially the reason why I'm talking about this right after that great video is we have well-established and loyal and wonderful member organizations. We are looking to expand kind of throughout Tennessee for smaller environmental organizations and trying to reach a collective whole within the state. And so it's exciting to announce that obvious grant from Patagonia, but also that's the purpose of what we're trying to do with that money, is to expand it into smaller environmental organizations to get them in and get them connected. And so what's the purpose of this? Diversity, geographical diversity, social diversity. We're trying to build a more resilient network. And so that's really exciting. And I know that I can hopefully speak for the whole board when we're excited to work on that together. All right. Well, next up, I think we're going to bring Angel in here, and she's going to talk about the second mission for TCV and what that is.
I am back. Everett, I just want to say real quick that it's really awesome that you were able to help obtain that Patagonia grant. It's really going to help a lot. Expanding our geographic distribution is going to be really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all excited about it.
Definitely. All right, everybody. So we talked about awareness, and now we're going to get into our advocacy session. So that is our second mission, where we promote good laws to protect and preserve our environment. So as part of this mission, we work closely with lobbyist Stuart Clifton. I know Stuart's ears are burning because his name's been mentioned quite a few times. And he helps us promote the existing and proposed legislation with our state representatives. So Stuart works tirelessly to make sure that citizens understand the legislative process and to present pro-environment bills to our legislators to make sure they understand the environmental issues that are at hand. So Stuart, without further ado, if you'd like to talk a little bit about some things that TCV has achieved this past year and what you think 2021 will look like, we would love to hear it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I want to start by saying that reflections on legislative actions in 2020 and future legislative actions in 2021 sounds a little too specific for a Friday night for me. So I may give you a pass on some of that. Instead, I just want to, maybe the reflections part I could do without being too wordy. My reflection is that each year of the many years I've been working with TCV, which, by the way, I'm being very sincere, is a huge honor for me. I I do what I do because I enjoy it. I do what I do because I think it needs to be done. But the people I work with and the groups who are members, the individuals who are part of us, and the allies around the state are why I do it. And it's a wonderful honor to be asked year after year to do this. So what I did want to do was reflect on where we are. Every year, TCV wins some big battles. We lose some big battles, as do other environmental groups. But these last few years have seen a little something different. As you may have noticed, on the national level, our administration has for a few years been, shall we say, ridiculously anti-environment. I guess that would be a soft way to say it. But there have been, in fact, rollbacks in protections, too much additional reliance on fossil fuels, and all sorts of things that you know as much about as I do. My point in bringing that up is to say to you that that's made a difference here. Legislators on the state level, many of them were caught up in that spirit, and it was a tough few years. We did win some battles. We stopped some bills, we modified some bills, and we passed some bills. But this is different. There's a new administration, and while we're a nonpartisan group and we have friends in both parties at the state level for sure, it is clear that some of the special interest groups that have seen the last few years as a way to kind of piggyback on things for state level work and get some things through they might not otherwise be able to get through. It's a different world now. And I think they're seeing they're not going to get the same sort of support from the national legislative, executive, and judicial branches. So it's an opportunity that we intend to take advantage of to do our work as advocates as best we can. I suppose that the main thing I want to say is not about specific bills, but to say that legislators vote not because they've researched bills and read articles about them, but because organizations or people they know talk to them. Their constituents, lobbyists they trust, groups whose mission they get. That makes a difference. And that's what some of our program will be about tonight as we go on. So I suppose that one reflection about the last year is, one reason I'm happy about things is last year was the largest day on the Hill we've had in many, many years, and preceded by a night of skills training, legislative skills training. So that's the kind of thing we do. We lobby individual legislators, but we also try to equip people to do this work. So without further ado, I'm going to move on and introduce two of the folks who are great friends of mine and have been friends to TCV for a long, long time. The first is John Noel, who I suspect most people listening to this know very well. I do not believe we would necessarily be in existence now without John Noel and his enthusiasm over the years. And also Sherry Lawler, who for many years has been one of our most consistent supporters and a community citizen who I admire very much. So I will turn it over to them at this point.
It is a group of interested people who, both interesting and interested people who congregate around the idea that we ought to have the best planet that we can to live on. Today, Barbara, it seems that we have a world of disinformation. And the best thing that the Tennessee Conservation Voters does is to bring to those people in the position of making decisions the correct and information, bringing the science to the table and bringing to them what is in fact the truth. And over the years, I have watched the magic of all of these people who have such a heavy commitment and a big heart to be able to put it in the place in the face of those people making those decisions. So I hope other people will enjoy and join us in that effort. It's a great organization.
I guess it all started back in about 1979 or 1980 when Al Gore had a congressional hearing about this new discovery a lot of scientists had made concerning the effect of fossil fuels on the climate. You know, I've realized that we really needed to change a lot of the laws. That's the only way to really get things fixed. We can recycle and drive our hybrids and do shrew plastics and do all that kind of stuff. But as long as you have bad laws that allow industries that want to pollute, that give them a free hand, nothing's going to be done. We need Stuart Clifton there in our Tennessee State Legislature. He's got a tough hill to climb up there. All the board members have always been hardworking, very conscientious people. And I just appreciate it all, and I want to show them my support. So that's why I always donate and try to take part in their legislative updates during the current legislative sessions. When I see my grandchildren, I want to be able to look them in the eye and let them know that I've tried to do something for the environment. Let them know that I care about people. I haven't just cast it aside and let somebody else take care of the problem.
Sherry, I just want to say I really miss seeing you and Richard live and in person. You guys have always been great contributors to this auction, and I want to say the same thing to John Knoll and Melinda Welton. And appreciate everything you guys have done to support the auction. Now, John, I'm going to call you out specifically because I appreciate the things that you had to say, the things you've done in the past, but that's all in the past, okay? Now it's time to get your auction pants on, pull them up around your neck, and bid, okay? We can't get you inebriated in this environment tonight because we're on the campus of Lipscomb University. And I would prefer not to do that anyway, but get up, go to the kitchen, get you a bottle of wine, and let's think seriously about bidding on some of these auction items tonight. We've got some really, really good items, and I've got a couple of them here, so bear with me. I'll try to get this where the light doesn't reflect it horribly. But this is a print. I believe it's, you can see the information on it on the website online, but I think it's 22 by 30. It's a framed print, photographic print that Robin Conover, outstanding nature photographer, and on the board at the Radnor Lake and does so many things for them. But this is a wonderful picture. It's the hoarfrost at Roan Mountain, and it's black and white. It's just a lovely, lovely photograph. And remember what I say every year, good art will not match your couch. So don't look at this and look around your den and figure out where you're going to hang it. You hang it and then go to rooms to go and furnish your place, okay? This is a piece of art. Got one more thing I want to show you. This is a piece of iron sculpture. You see it on the bid sheet called Romancing Flamingos. Well, if it doesn't look like they're romancing, this thing is totally animated and there's no battery required. This is how you make romancing flamingos. Isn't that is awesome, is it not? If you ever seen that, you won't see that at the Nashville Zoo. They don't sell this stuff in the gift shop over there. They wish they could, but they don't. This is one of a kind, hand sculpted by James Woodall, better known as Woody. And if I'm not mistaken, we have an embarrassing, well, we're getting better. Okay, this is awesome. Somebody else gets it. Somebody has overbid what he put on it, which he always undervalues his stuff anyway, because he told me $100 and I bumped it up to $125, and it's obviously worth $132.50. If it's worth $132.50, it's worth $150. That's walking around money for most of you people. So let's get up at 7 o'clock. Don't do it now. I told you before, do not leave the site. We got more business to take care of here. But at 7 o'clock, if you want it, you're going to have to bid at least $150, if not $200, for Romancing Flamingos. And I will see y'all one more time in just a little bit.
Well, I gotta say, I think those romancing flamingos are priceless. So $150 is probably a low ball.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move on to our third mission, our third and final mission, and it is accountability, which I think is kind of a good kind of bow to put on this thing of awareness, advocacy, accountability, especially following up listening to Stuart. I mean, I think Stuart embodies accountability. I mean, that's why we rely on him, and he's so important to not just us, but the state of Tennessee. So, I mean, accountability, it speaks for itself. That's why we're here, right? And that's why we do the work that we do. And that's why Stuart has been a long time partner with us in this, and a fantastic teammate. And I'm always honored to be around him and also work with him in the same organization. So, great. Well, I think we're going to Angel. I don't want to just run you over. Is there anything you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, I like how you say that this is kind of like how we tie the bow on everything, because it is really important to make sure that our leaders are accountable, and that they follow through with what they say that they're going to do. So definitely agree with you there.
Absolutely. And I think I can speak for most people when we say this is a time of transition in multiple ways. And so the future we could say exciting.
For sure. Communication is key. We can do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, we're moving on to the next action item. Next thing.
Yep. So now we're going to hear from Senator Brenda Gilmore, who serves on the board of the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators.
It's so important that we educate and bring up and mentor the next generation of leaders so that they too care about this earth. When you care about the earth, you care about the people. And I know that TCV has a heart for the people. They want to improve the lives of everybody, not just a few segments of the population, but everybody. Whether it's something as simple as a zoning issue on the local level or something more global that affects all Tennesseans, that's what affects their lives, and they need to have a say-so in it. And I also like to tell our constituents, don't view us as legislators as someone that's up on a throne, but we are approachable. We come, we ask for your vote, we ask for your support, and now we need to be held accountable. So please let us know your voice. Your vote is your voice, and letting us know how you feel about a particular issue is your voice. We want to hear from our constituency, not just when they oppose to something, but also when they support something. You know, voting is important, but being involved is equally as important. You can do that on so many levels. You can look at past hearings, committee hearings, by going to our website, tennessee.gov. You can call us, you can write us, you can email us, but get involved. Just don't let us stay at the state capitol making all decisions for you without you knowing what we're up to. Hold us accountable. That's why I value TCV and all that they represent.
Okay, lest you guys think that I'm out on the town tonight without a mask, I'm here to tell you that I've got my mask, okay? And we're looking at some of the auction items here. And remember, bid high at 7 o'clock. Keep your eye on it. Keep it open. Don't go to bed yet. Some of you guys will get ready to go to bed at 8 o'clock. It's time to stay up till 8 tonight. And at least make sure you get your bid out. So, where are we? Oh, Clifton Government Relations. This is getting a little embarrassing. Stuart, step up here just for a minute. Uh-oh. Here we go. All right. We have to share a microphone. I'll wipe it off. All right. Now, I've got a place I've got to stand. We're 6 feet apart. This morning when I looked at this, we had no bids. That was a little bit embarrassing for me, and I know it was embarrassing for Stuart. Well, A while ago, somebody bid $181. Now, what's up with you guys wanting to up it $1? What planet are y'all on tonight? Come on, it's a fundraiser. $200 is the good round number. $400 is a better round number, way better. And I saw Stuart sitting over there a few minutes ago. He's watching this thing go up $1 at a time, for crying out loud. What's wrong with y'all? I saw a tear well up. He's sitting right over here. Might have been a gas pain, I don't know, but it was a tear. But you guys have got to step up. This is a hot item every year. And Stuart, we're proud of you for what you've done, and we thank you for offering this up. But we need it's priceless. I don't know what it means. It's all day with you, and you buy lunch? Huh? You don't buy lunch anymore? No, he'll buy your lunch like he always does. He'll buy your lunch. All right, listen, this is my last shot. When Barbara closes this thing out about 7 o'clock, it'll be time for you guys to start stabbing your former friends in the back on these bids, okay? Don't let something slip by because you're too cheap to spend $10 more. Get it up there where nobody else will want it. We've got a lot of things that are overbid. That's awesome. That's what this is all about. So let's get Stuart up there where he won't be crying all the way home tonight and tear up and have a wreck on the way to the house. Great items. Thank you again to the donors, people that gave everything. We've got some really, really good items. So keep the bidding up. It doesn't close until 8 o'clock. And thank you. I'm done. And next year we will be live and in person, John Knoll, where I can watch you and make sure you stay in the room and don't sneak out. There'll be no more of that next year. You can do that tonight because I can't see you. But I've got people, and Melinda will tell me if you're not acting right. All right, let's get out of here. What's next?
Hey. I wasn't sure if we transitioned yet here.
Yeah, we're back and we're ready.
We are. So we have a little over an hour before that auction closes. So come on, everybody. Awesome job, Daniel. So now we've reached my personal favorite part of the evening, where we honor individuals and groups who have actively worked to protect Tennessee's environment by implementing our threefold mission, which is through raising awareness, advocating for stronger environmental protections, and being accountable. And this year, we're pleased to present 3 Environmental Service Awards. So up next, we have board member and vice president of TCV, Mark Green, who's going to present the award categories and winners.
Thanks, Everett and Angel, for being such great hosts tonight and for that introduction. First, I'd like to introduce this year's individual advocate recipient, Rita Harris. Rita worked as a National Sierra Club staffer for 20 years, retiring in 2017. She's long been recognized as a national leader with focus on environmental justice and environmental racism. She's now an elected National Sierra Club board member, one of the 15 members who direct Sierra's activities.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your board and your director. I appreciate everyone for thinking about me and the work that I've done over the years. I started working on environmental issues back in the 1990s, early 90s. And initially, I started to hear stories from places across the state of Tennessee. People were talking about how industrial pollution problems were being blamed for sicknesses and fears that they were having about various health problems. So in 1991, I believe, I attended the first National People of Color Environmental Summit in Washington, D.C. It was back then that I really began thinking about the problems that we were seeing in Memphis and across Tennessee were not like isolated problems for poor people of color neighborhoods. It was way beyond that. There was obviously a pattern of exploitation for people of color communities across the globe. So, you have all these different entities, and again, some of our smaller neighborhoods and communities are not aware of how to navigate all of this. And so it really helps sometimes if you have various groups and organizations that can help sort of, shepherd them along the way. Biggest thing in environmental justice organizing is building relationships of trust, so that members of the community will, be able to talk to you. You're talking to them, and you're relating to each other on a human to human level. People who live in these poor communities have a lot to consider. They have a lot to navigate just to live their day-to-day lives. Everybody wants to have clean, safe communities to raise their children and to not be worried about health issues. People that are living in these communities are focused on just trying to live day to day, raise their children. Some folks have 2 jobs, and they're not really dealing with a lot of the research and dealing with the scientists that are actually, working on these kinds of issues. They're really hoping that our elected officials will protect them. They're actually hoping that the companies will do the right thing. And all the time, that doesn't work exactly that way unless there's public pressure. But I think it's really critical that even if it's a national group or a statewide group, that we always elevate the voices of folks in the local communities and push their reputation to the top. It's sort of a multi-pronged strategy that we have to take in working on environmental justice. The legislation that we create needs to have a level playing field. We haven't had that a lot in Tennessee. For example, we might have some people to bring forth bills, and there might be in one party, and then another party might not be interested in environmental bills, period. But, getting environmental bills passed is one thing, and getting environmental justice bills passed is another. There's an understanding, I think, among some that legislators know everything. They know all about your particular issue, and that really might not be true. There's a certain level of education that we have to give to our legislators to let them know why we're pushing for something and why we feel that this is critical that they vote for it. We need a stronger environmental movement. I think that environmental justice sort of brings together social justice issues with environmental issues. And if you bring those people that are represented in those movements together, you're naturally going to have a broader movement. We need more people. And I guess this is why I was saying, we need to build the movement, be more inclusive, bring more people in. Our voices will be louder. We need more people making phone calls. We need more people writing letters, holding rallies, connecting with, and again, 1 or 2 people can't do all of this. You need an army of people, basically. A lot of times when you're doing work, you wonder if people are paying attention or if people really care, because, things can get really crazy. But I really appreciate the honor. I really do.
Thanks, Rita, and congratulations. Next, this year's recipient group is the Harpeth Conservancy. They're receiving this award for their very active and successful work to build relationships with legislators whose opinions and actions are critical to their and our mission. They're based in Williamson and Cheatham counties, but also work hard on statewide issues. They've taken leadership roles for years, working with other groups in Tennessee.
Thank you, Tennessee Conservation Voters, for honoring the work of the Harpeth Conservancy. Our organization's 20 years old, and we actually owe a lot to our ability to work effectively in the legislature with the guidance and tutoring, if you will, by some of people like Bill Terry and Stuart Clifton over the years. Our organization has been a coalition member of Tennessee Conservation Voters. And when I moved to town 20 years ago, my first consulting job was with Aaron and actually pulling together some of the original organizations to be part of the Tennessee Conservation Voters. So it's been a long relationship. The Harpeth Conservancy's vision is clean water and healthy rivers for Tennessee. And so our mission is, it's very important because one of the key parts of our mission is it's clean water and healthy rivers in Tennessee championed by the people who live here. And that is one of the things that we've sort of adjusted to sort of emphasize that one of our big roles as an organization, even though we have PhD science experts and attorneys and clean water policy, you know, as an organization, we are working with folks wherever they are. They could be, you know, they could be the head of a company, they could be someone who's in their church. We're working across and building those networks so that people know how to be effective champions when it comes to environmental issues, because they're complex and most people don't have a hard time understanding them. You know, we dumb them down so much that it's a false dichotomy to say it's, you know, environment versus business or that kind of thing. So we spend a lot of time building those kind of networks. One of the big things we all talk about, and we see it also at the national level, is the hyperpolarization of people. So one of the most important things is to always be looking for ways to make connections. You know, you meet people at the soccer field because your kids are playing soccer. You like to fish. You like sushi. Those things really matter. Remembering that people are people, and we all care about where we live and our families, and not to try hard to avoid, oh, you don't care about environmental issues, or you're pro-business or some other thing. Because frankly, most people have something complicated they are keeping up with. And so our role, I think, as a community is to make sure they can trust us in terms of providing accurate information on the understanding of complex issues. Like all these clean water and development issues are complex. Do you understand how the land use laws work, how zoning works? Do you understand how geology affects the way water moves through Tennessee? Because there's caves over here and groundwater over there. It's complicated. So going forward, we all, I think, need to be reaching out and forming relationships with other organizations on social change. It's not the environmental community itself is too small. So there are effective players in grassroots organizing. They're going to be in the social change, get out the vote world. There's a lot going on in education. So I think the important thing is, and one of the fundamental things for our organization we've learned and experienced over the years is a common theme is transparency in government. So access to documents, being available, being able to watch deliberations at the local level. I would say a lot of communities around the state are still struggling with what it means to be transparent. I'm not sure they intend to not be, but they don't know what it means, and they maybe don't understand that there are advantages and benefits to having the public more involved. So transparency in government cuts across everybody's interests who might be wanting to shape what's going on with decision makers. And I just want to give a shout out to all of my colleagues and friends who are going to be who will be part of Nature Vote. I mean, I'm just so much wish we could be in person, because that's how we all catch up, tell our war stories, find out what's going on. So here's to all of us who've worked so hard for so long, and to all of everybody. It takes a lot of us, and we have to keep passing the baton to the next generation of folks who have maybe more energy, and we might have wisdom. Or like we might have relationships that have developed over 20 years and someone else has all the networking energy. So we just need to keep bringing people in to the effort.
Congratulations to the Conservancy. I've just received a note that not only will the auction be extended until 8 o'clock, but the ability to donate by text has now been extended until Sunday. So feel free to text, as you see on your screen there, to donate. That'll be open until Sunday. Our final award, our elected official recipient, is Senator Richard Briggs of Knoxville. Senator Briggs is being recognized for his work on the single-use plastics ban specifically, and for environmental issues in general. He's served for 7 years in our Senate and currently chairs the important State and Local Government Committee. He's a medical doctor and retired as a colonel in the U.S. Army.
I really think it's a great organization. It doesn't try to take, a liberal versus conservative stance of whatever that is politically. But my interaction, is with this organization is that they really are interested in bringing people together. They're more results oriented than some of the other organizations that I think take unrealistic views. And I think it gives us the biggest hope for actually getting something done. And I appreciate so much the support that that we get from them, and I think it's a very practical support that is doable, and I'm very, very proud and always very happy to work with it. Some of the projects that conservationists have made, we can all cohabitate together, whether we're city dwellers, rural dwellers, whether we like hunting, don't like hunting, or fishing, because we do have a common interest in those. Who doesn't like to look at a bald eagle? Now we're really having a lot of people that are coming together, including some businesses, and I won't mention them, that agreed that we need to change things, and I do have hope as we go forward. Senator Nicely, who represents one of our rural areas, has really come on board and been very vocal about supporting this. But I'm really hopeful that as we all come together, we can, rather than this being something that divides us, that it really can truly be something that brings us together, because I don't think anyone says we need more plastics pollution. We have been blessed in Tennessee with this absolutely beautiful place, and the least we can do is be good stewards of it. And we know that these plastics, many of them, they don't last 1 or 2 or 5 or 10. If Christopher Columbus had tossed a Clorox bottle over when he arrived in 1492, it would still be around. I was sailing back at a small boat from Hawaii back to San Francisco, and there's an area out in the Pacific called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's about 3 times the size of Texas, where plastics and junk have accumulated because the currents converge there. And we spent about 4 days getting through that area. It's 1,500 miles from the nearest land. I think we went 9 days. We didn't see another boat. We didn't see an airplane. We didn't see anything. And here you've got this large, beautiful ocean, and it's quite frankly contaminated. And we know also that those plastics will be there for the next 300 or 400 years. And then what really tipped me over is that there was an article about the Tennessee River, the river that has the namesake of our state, is the worst plastics polluted with microplastics polluted river in the world. It's worse than the Rhine River in Germany and the Yangtze River in China. And when I saw that, I said, we got to do something. If we work together, this can be something that brings us together, that shouldn't be divisive. And I really have high expectations that we'll make progress.
Wow. What an incredible, inspiring group of honorees. Senator Briggs, Rita Harris, and Harpeth Conservancy. Just how powerful they are as leaders. So it's the end of our evening, and we hope you've enjoyed being with us tonight. I think it's been inspiring and motivating, and I hope you feel that way too. As you've heard from our speakers, environmental advocacy requires dedication and persistence. But they and we are fighting the good fight. Our planet, our beautiful Tennessee, our air, our water, our communities all need us now and for the future. I think Rita Harris said it better than anyone. Environmental problems are complex. It will take a long time to make change, so be ready for the long haul. You heard that to accomplish our goals, it's important to build relationships and trust. You may not be able to do anything today or change anything today or tomorrow, but you can try and keep trying. So we need to come together to elevate and support all voices. We need to strategize equitably with all communities and work together to find solutions. Together, we can build communities to work together to find solutions. We can build movements to exert public pressure as a group and as it's all coming together to make change at every single level. Thank you to our honorees, Rita Harris, Senator Briggs, excuse me, and Harpeth Conservancy for your leadership and showing all of us the way forward. Thank you, everyone who I can't see, but I know you're out there, for your support of TCV and our work and for joining us tonight. We are so glad to have you as part of the movement. Please stay safe and good night.